Hello and welcome. I'm an AI expert specializing in modern hotel operations, and I am thrilled to welcome all of you from the Europe Hotel School to this online learning journey. Now, in hospitality, you learn all about the systems, the procedures, the best practices. But what happens when it all goes sideways? When the power cuts out or a real emergency hits? Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today. We're going to look past the instruction manuals and focus on the single most critical factor in any crisis: your people. You know, it's so easy to get caught up in the technology, the fancy alarm systems, the detailed emergency binders, but at the end of the day, those are all just tools. The real game changer, the one thing that turns total chaos into a controlled response, is what's happening inside the minds of your team. This is the core idea we're going to unpack. Technology is there to support people, not the other way around. So, how do we actually build a team that's ready for anything? Well, we're going to break it down into 5 key pillars. First, we'll get to the bottom of why the human element is so incredibly important. Then we'll dive into how you recruit for resilience, how you forge skills through training, get everyone coordinated, and finally, how you build a lasting culture of readiness. Okay, let's start right at the foundation. For just a minute, forget about the fire plans and the emergency protocols. In those first critical seconds of a crisis, long before any first responders show up, your front desk team is the response. Their composure, their clarity, that right there is your hotel's single most valuable asset. This right here, this is the goal. This is what we're aiming for. We're not just training people to check guests in, we're building first response communicators. And look at those keywords: confident, seamlessly. That's about so much more than just knowing what to do. It's about a deep-seated trust in their training, in each other, and in themselves. And that kind of trust, it isn't just given. It has to be built. So if that's our ultimate goal, where on earth do we start? Well, it starts way before the first training session. It actually starts with who you decide to hire in the first place. You simply can't build a crisis-ready team if you don't have the right building blocks. That means you have to be recruiting for resilience from day one. This really gets at one of the biggest mindset shifts in modern hospitality recruitment. For years, experience was everything. But think about it. You can teach a sharp person a new reservation system in a week, but can you teach them how to stay calm when everything around them is falling apart? That innate emotional stability, that is the bedrock. You hire for that, and then you train for everything else. So, when you're sitting across from a candidate, what are you really looking for beyond the resume? You're looking for these traits: a naturally calm demeanor, a true desire to help people, an eye for the little things. But even more than that, you're looking for situational awareness and self-control. Can they think clearly when the pressure is on? That's the million-dollar question. All right, so you've hired people with the right potential. Now comes the real work, forging that potential into a reliable skill. This next pillar is all about the training. It's about taking that raw talent and shaping it through practice and pressure until the right response becomes second nature. It becomes instinct. You see, great training is so much more than just reading a manual. It's a cycle. You start with the theory, of course. You have to know the basics. But the real learning, that happens in the simulation. That's where you put people under safe, controlled pressure. It's not about getting a perfect score. It's about building muscle memory so that they don't just freeze up in a real crisis. And that debrief at the end, that's where the lessons really, truly stick. I want you to really think about this. In a crisis, your receptionist's voice is a powerful tool. A shaky, panicked voice can spread panic like wildfire. But a calm, measured tone, even while giving urgent instructions, it's like a fire blanket. It can smother that panic and make people feel safe and protected. That kind of vocal control isn't just a nice to have. It is a skill that has to be practiced and drilled over and over again. Having skilled individuals is fantastic. It's like having a group of amazing musicians. But that's not enough, is it? To actually make music, they have to play together in harmony. Our next pillar is all about that coordination, turning those individual talents into a cohesive, effective crisis response team. When adrenaline is pumping, the absolute biggest enemy you have is confusion. You can't have 2 people trying to do the same task while another critical job gets completely ignored. That's why having predefined roles is absolutely non-negotiable. As you can see here, everyone knows their lane. One person handles guests, another is on the line with emergency services, a supervisor is documenting everything. This structure brings order to what would otherwise be chaos. And mastery isn't just about knowing the software. It's about knowing the physical building with your eyes closed. When a panicked guest runs up and asks, "Where's the nearest exit?" your team can't be fumbling for a map. They need to know where every alarm panel, every first aid kit, and every fire extinguisher is instantly. And what happens when the power goes out and all those beautiful screens go black? They need to be just as effective with a simple walkie-talkie and a notepad. And that brings us to our final, and you could argue, our most important pillar. See, you can have the best people, the most amazing training, and perfect plans. But if all that just exists in a binder on a shelf, it's totally useless. The glue that holds it all together is the culture, an environment where being ready isn't just an occasional drill, but a daily mindset. It all flows from leadership. A manager's panic is contagious. It will absolutely infect their team in seconds. But you know what? So is their composure. A leader who acts as a calm anchor in a storm gives their team the permission and the confidence to be calm as well. They are the ones who make sure that training is taken seriously, not just as a box to be checked. A strong culture isn't just about how the team performs during a crisis. It's also about how they recover after. These events are stressful and can take a real emotional toll. That's why the post-incident debrief is so incredibly vital. It has to be a no-blame zone, focused entirely on learning, support, and growth. The goal is 100% psychological safety, so the team comes back stronger, not broken. This is what it all leads to. When the culture is right, something truly fundamental starts to shift in the team's identity. They no longer see themselves as just service providers. They begin to see themselves as guardians of guest safety. Now, that's not just a job title, that's a powerful sense of mission. So what do all 5 of these pillars ultimately build? What's the final product? It's this: confidence. And listen, I don't mean the absence of fear. I mean the presence of a deep, unshakable trust. Trust in their skills, trust in their teammates, and trust that no matter what happens, they are ready. So, we'll leave you with this question. As you step into your future leadership roles, you won't just be managing room rates and staff schedules. You'll be building teams of guardians. The safety and well-being of your guests will rest on the culture you create and the confidence you inspire. The only real question left is, are you ready for that responsibility?